Cancer of the testis commonly presents as a small lump, and in majority of cases, only one testicle is affected. With us to talk about his experience and now career with testicular cancer is Testicular, and he's from Germany, in case you are wondering what the surname means, and Cancer Association South Africa. We're joined by Michael Herbst. Torsten and Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, let's start by just defining testicular cancer. To a lay person, how would you explain that?
You know, cancer in very basic terms is the abnormal multiplication of cells, uncontrollable. So eventually there are so many cells that it starts growing in size. And that is really what cancer is. And the growing in size is what we refer to as the tumor.
It must be challenging as a man to acknowledge that there's something wrong down there, even worse when you get diagnosed. Tell us about your journey. Did you even know what testicular cancer is?
I didn't know anything about testicular cancer. I was a teacher during that time and was preparing lessons for sex education. And there was a chapter on all the diseases, and I read through that chapter, and there was a little paragraph that says testicular cancer is most common between 15 and 38. So while reading this, I'll check my testes, and I felt a little lump. And that was like, my first thought was, is this cancer? And obviously I ignored it because, like men, we don't talk and we don't go to the doctor. But after, I think a week after that, I decided I have to see the doctor because I couldn't get rid of that thought. So I went to the doctor, and it was testicular cancer.
And mixing theory with reality sometimes can be quite challenging. It's easy to say it can't be about me. I mean, you're talking about being a healthy, active individual who's well-informed. You're reading about it already.
Yeah.
And when you detect something, how do you move from could it be to it is?
It's difficult, you know, because when you hear the words, you have cancer, a lot of people just shut down at that moment. They don't hear anything else that is said to them. And we must realize and understand that and give people an opportunity to grasp what has been said to them and what is really going on. And they will then say, I am ready to be told and to be given more information. And they will start asking the questions.
And at what point, I mean, there you are, you're reading theory and you're doing your self-examination and you're feeling something is not right. At what point? Because cancer, especially of the testes, can be one of those conditions that it's not, you don't have physical pain, and therefore you don't know whether this is cancerous or not.
Yeah. Often if it's physical pain, it's in an advanced...
It's worse now,
yeah.
Yes.
I didn't have any pain, so it was a little lump that I felt. And I was 30 years old, and as a 30-year-old, healthy, as you said, you don't think of getting cancer, because people always think cancer is only old people are getting cancer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was 30 years old when I had the cancer. So it really, when the doctor came to me and said, well, it's testicular cancer and we have to remove your right testis tomorrow morning, it was, my life shattered into pieces because you didn't know you're not prepared, or you can't prepare yourself for this, and you're not prepared at all.
And I don't think any amount of counseling can even make sense out of what the doctor is saying at the moment.
Yeah, especially at the beginning, it takes a while till it sinks in, till you understand, okay, I've got cancer. At the beginning, you actually can cope with it, because I think you didn't realize what's actually happening, and you don't have the information on what is really cancer. You get all these things, the doctor tell you what it have to be done, and it's terminology that you sometimes never heard before, like you have to get chemotherapy, and then I looked up what is chemotherapy, because you don't know these things.
And some of these words, I mean, the jargon that is used can really take you off completely. As you read about, you're going to lose your hair, you're going to,
yeah.
And it's difficult to comprehend when you don't have a human being to just simplify it, and that's where Cancer Association comes in. Tell us about, you know, it's all good and well to say that there was a lump. Self-examination, how does one know that this is cause for concern, it's not just a pimple, I need to consult?
You know, the important thing is, and I think this is one of the lessons that we've got to teach every boy and every young man, you have to know your body.
Yeah.
Because only by knowing your body will you realize when something else is different to what it was yesterday or last week or the month before. So when we teach boys, for instance, to do testicular self-exam, we tell them that they've got to do it regularly, at least once a month. And then also preferably after a nice warm shower or a warm bath, because then the scrotum will relax and the testes can be really examined, each one at a time, very carefully. But you've got to know your body to know what any change that has taken place.
We've got this example. Take me through what we can do to educate on how to do the self-exam. Because it's one thing to say, examine yourself if you're just going to be, moving around with your fingers. What exactly, how does one get to a point? Because with this example, I can actually feel where the lump is. How does one begin?
I always say to the guys, if they ask me, how did you find out, what do I have to look for, I always tell them there are these tubes at the back of the testes. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Feel the surface of the testes.
That's the surface.
Yeah. So if there is, normally it's smooth, so if it changes into lumps or bumps or it changes in general, and then you should see immediately your doctor. And if you do it regularly, once a month, that's why I call my campaign, or call my book Love Your Nuts, because that's what I say to the to the school boys. I said we all love our nuts, but at least check them once a month.
And so anything you love, you take care of, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, do you just move your fingers? Is it circular mode?
It's they say use your thumb and go over the flat or the surface of the testes, and if you do that regularly, then you know the surface of your testes, and if something changes there, then you will feel it immediately, because if a lump grows there, then you feel that, well, a month ago that wasn't there, and then you should go immediately.
That should help when you self-examine regularly, because then you'll be able to have something to compare with. That yesterday
and then you know your body. Then you
Yeah.
actually know your body, and then you will
And
feel
one
the
testicle at a time.
Yeah.
So you let the testicle rest on your hand, and you then roll it softly with a thumb over it, and you feel the testicle all the way around.
Yeah.
Top, bottom, sides, front and back.
This
And
can be
then-
done by partners as well, right? As part of foreplay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So encourage your partner, as you said, love your nuts. Encourage your partner to help you detect as well. Now let's talk about, here's diagnosis. How do you counsel a patient to acceptance?
Well, you cannot counsel somebody to accept.
Sure.
The person must himself come to the realization with the information that has been given and the diagnosis that has been given, but they've got to work it out for themselves and accept the diagnosis, because only by accepting something that you understand will you come to the realization, I have cancer. But this is not necessarily a death sentence, because to many people also the word cancer is a death sentence.
Because
And
that's how
I can
it's been
tell you
portrayed.
testicular cancer particularly, 99% success cure rate.
Wow. Now, at what point are you sitting there thinking, okay, I've read about this, I've heard all the theories around it, it's my reality now?
Yeah. And I was diagnosed in August 95, and at the beginning, I always said, well, I'm fine. I've got cancer, I had the
So what?
surgery, and I have to go for chemotherapy. So I did all this, but if I think back, I think it was 4 to 6 months later that I slowly understood what happened,
just
and
happened.
then I got slowly more and more depressed, and because you've got the fear that cancer returns, then suddenly as you feel any body pain, then you think, oh, should I go to the doctor? Maybe it's cancer. So it drove me quite mad, and it started, the whole cancer thought overshadowed actually my whole life, because I'm a positive person and a very active person, and suddenly I didn't feel like doing anything anymore, turned on music anymore, so I got it in deeper and deeper into depressions. And I think that it's a slow process that you actually find out often too late, then you see, well, I'm actually depressed.
But something helps to trigger. What actually got you to a point where you said, Let me stop feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah,
Annette.
I think it was work. I was a teacher. I loved teaching. I loved the kids, and we often would make jokes in class. And then when I was depressed like this, I often reacted differently to what I would have done before cancer. And when I went home, often in the afternoon, I thought, wow, I didn't treat them right today. It's not me anymore. And my principal at that school during that time, he often said to me, are you okay? And I said, well, I'm okay. So he saw long that I'm not the... Yeah. And then I cracked in his office one day and said, I can't teach anymore, and I need help. And then he said to me, and I said to him, I don't know where to go. And he said to me, go to your doctor, and he can refer you to somebody. And that's what I did then.
And
but it was a slow process
this?
that I got into, and very deep, till you realize now, because you think you cope, you will cope with it, and often you don't. And at work I saw, I'm not the same anymore. Staff, colleagues irritated me, the kids irritated me, and it wasn't like this. I loved being a teacher.
And thank goodness you snapped out. You would have lost a teacher.
Yeah.
Cancer of the testis is the most common type of cancer amongst men ages 15 and 39 years. When we come back, we're talking about facts and more detail on testicular cancer.